Welcome and good evening. Today we're here to talk about education. Yeah. Education is pretty much on the top of all our minds. Every other parent I speak to, pretty much, I think more than 80% of the parents I speak to on a weekly basis are talking about education, children's performance, how are they doing? Are they doing well? Resistance and power struggles around assignments, education, if they don't do well in school, if their performance is not that great at school, what's going to happen to their future. So there is so much of worry around marks, performance, academics, and future. And a lot of parents are sitting with a lot of, what do you say, confusion and worry that is mostly arising. So what I had in mind was that we will have a series of conversations on education with our beloved directress of Absorbent Mind, Roopa Kiran, who's here with us today. Yeah.
Namaste.
And we are looking to do a series of conversations on education to help parents decide, have better clarity on what is education about, why is it important, how do we approach education. Today we have so many different kinds of schools cropping up. The homeschooling and unschooling and road schooling is really picking up, and a good amount of the crowd is moving towards alternative education. So why is this happening? Where is this coming from? So what is the intention of education? What is education? So we are here to talk about all of that. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to leave your questions in the comment section and we will get back to you as and when, during the course of the talk. So before we go forward, let me introduce myself. I'm Preeti. I'm a parenting coach, therapist, and trainer. I've been in the field of mental health for over 10 years now. And I think that's enough about me. Over to you, Roopa. Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm Roopa Kiran. I'm a Montessorian and a special educator at the same time. And I'm the founder directress of Absorbent Mind Montessori School. And I've been practicing Montessori for over 19 years now. So that's about me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have to say before we start that my son goes to Rupa's school, and after a whole lot of looking around, I think I've gone across Bangalore to many schools, and I think this school, the way Rupa has been running it, the kind of culture that is there, the environment, I was just blown. Yeah, I do have to say that before we start. And okay, so let's get on with the topic today. So we are here to talk about what is education. But before we talk about what is education, I would like you to share your perspective on the need for education in the context that we know it today, the kind of education system that is there today, and what exactly are we talking about when we say there is, education is absolutely necessary. What are we talking about? What do you
See here now, in today's education, if we look at it, it's become more competitive. So-called, it's like, 99.9 and 100. If 101 also, I don't think so. It's satisfying. So it's become so competitive, Is it required? Because during this process, children are losing themselves. Children are losing childhood. Children are suffering. To say, really, they are suffering until and unless certain numbers, say out of 100, probably 10, 12 are capable. But what about the rest? So they are all, I feel like, they're finding it so difficult to cross and to compete with others. And competition has become a main, phenomenon. Like, without competition, there's nothing. When parents tell, why, ma'am, why this medal and all that, and they didn't get first, second, third, and all that. Why discrimination? I do understand that there are different levels of learners are there. It's about, their capabilities and certain things, they're born with it. We cannot discriminate. To give you a small example, this is like 15 years back. Now this child must be around 24 years old now. So this child found it very difficult doing English language, but he was master in Kannada. I suggested the parent saying that why don't you just go through? He can become a doctorate in Kannada. He can become a pandit in Kannada. It need not be English. English is not general knowledge. English is a mere language. This is the first thing people should try and understand, because what has happened is English medium school over the generations, and probably it has got into our genes, I think now. So it's become so difficult. Yes, it's gone into our genes that English medium school, English. I do understand English is there. It's the mere language to communicate and converse all over the world because they're using. Why did this happen? Because Britishers kept ruling over the world and they kept traveling. So the language got into them. And at the same time, they influenced people with the English language. And initially they did not have, if we go back, to history and other time when we see, they did not have script. Latin had and French had, but they did not have script. They had to take 26 alphabets and that's how they formed their languages. And we need to understand in depth of these things. Where, because all of us are coming from a conventional schooling. So school has a textbook and school has certain limitations where they are teaching 6 subjects and 6 teachers. That is what the school is limited to as of now. That's what I feel. I don't know, hopefully because of the NEP, things must change. I don't know. It should happen. Yes. Hopefully, at least 50% with regard to the National Open School. They have so many subjects and so many, varieties of skill-based subjects they have. But I don't know, parents are hesitant to pick it up, or schools as a whole, they are not offering. They are not offering these subjects. That's what I feel, But NEP should support, I don't know. Yes, Preeti.
So in the beginning of this conversation, there was one statement you made: 10% of our children are actually capable. What about the rest? That was a little different from, I think that can be really misconstrued, right?
It's not about that. Yes. See, 10% also, it depends on what area this child is. This child might be gifted. There are a lot of children you have seen, like at the age of 9, they're able to write 10th board. They're able to write, many are there gifted. Apart from the gifted, what I feel is it's about the learning aspects. Now, 10% I say, like they can acquire all the subjects or all whatever, the skills might be. It depends again. I might be wrong, I might not be, correct. I might be wrong. Absolutely, I might be wrong. It's not the truth. But still, this is what, according to my observation, because they just flow. They just flow with the present generation education, whatever they're offering. In aspect to that, I told, with 6 subjects and classroom teaching with 30 children being there and all that, Based on that, to my experience, this is what I felt. Out of, so many children in the classroom, around 8 children, 9 children could flow easily without any. But I can't assure with emotional aspects, is the child suffering, or it's only with regard to the learning in the classroom. I don't know background at home what's happening. I don't know. Mother is pressurizing, or the child is scared and coming and learning everything, so that mother is going to ask back at home. I don't know. I'm not talking about that. It's only in the classroom the child can just float.
Okay, so what you're talking about is in the context of marks, performance.
Yes. The learning marks. Yes, performing.
So when it comes to learning, what is also coming to me is the Howard Gardner's, theory of multiple intelligences, right? So there are 9 different kinds of intelligences: math, language, math as in logic, language, music, kinesthetic is about body movement, spatial intelligence, artistic, environmental, spiritual. One more, I think I left out something. Right? So there are 9 different kinds of intelligences, but most of the time our schools focus mostly on language and logic, which is mathematics and memory.
Memory. What do auditory. Mostly it is auditory because all the time
Yeah.
teacher is talking and the child is
Yeah.
listening. This is what
Yeah.
happens most of the time.
So recollecting
And
memory is not intelligence.
yes, recollecting is not this thing. Only the critical thinking and logical and critical thinking comes in. That is
Mm.
when we call it as intelligence. If the child is just
Mm.
producing what is there in the book, that is not intelligence.
Mm.
The child needs to do something out of it or evolve through the
Mm.
learning process. Then probably that is what we call as intelligence. It cannot just
So
be
when we
intelligence by just producing. I have learned it. See, even this also needs memory. I do understand. How about like if I self learn, like just take a simple aspect of cooking because
mm.
I'm a woman. I'm not telling cooking. It can be making a cricket bat. It's
Mm.
See, it's earlier we had, if we go back to history, how man lived
Mm.
and what happened and all that. If we go back to history, uh, when man evolved, after what, so many millions of years, dinosaurs came and rats are way older than us. Rats came before us, some 350 thousand years ago, something like that. They came. So they're still here. They're still here. They're still surviving. They're being here. But we came much late when at last at the end of that 1 minute, that is when we came on Earth. So when we came, so how was it? Like we survived, we lived, we ate. Only the need was to food, and I don't think so. Shelter was also the aspect because if it rained and if there was weather conditions, I think he took shelter under a tree or a cave or something. We don't know what he did. So
Mm.
how did that come? How did that? It is raining. I need to go inside a cave. Nobody taught. Even now, if you take birds, it's all genetic.
Mm.
How do
Mm.
the bird know that it has to build a nest to
Mm.
lay an egg and call a partner?
Mm.
How does it know? They
Mm.
don't have schools. Do they have schools? I
Mm.
don't think so. They don't have schools. But how
Mm.
is that they are knowing all this? The nature is there. Even monarch butterfly, they travel some hundreds of kilometers. They migrate and they
Mm.
lay eggs and the life cycle happens. And again, these butterflies they come back. How do they know? The father is not going taking them there. This is what it is. You have to come back after so. Nobody is teaching. They don't have schooling at all. It's
What I'm
genetic that
hearing
way.
is that a lot of our learning, evolutionarily speaking, was need based.
Yes.
That had
Yes.
nothing to do with schooling.
Schooling.
Survival and surviving and
Nothing.
thriving had little to do with the school system and more to do with
It was
needs,
not
which
required.
is biological.
Yes.
Hmm.
Exactly. Then after over the period of time, if you take civilization that happened and all that. So how did man get civilized? Like he did not have a script. He did
Hmm.
not probably they had language which they spoke, which that particular community understood. That is why we are having so many languages around the world because there were groups where we lived in the forests and all that. Probably each group evolved and they have come up with their own languages, and that's how it has happened. Then they could understand, but they did not have script. How did
Hmm.
they communicate, or how did they show that this is how the paddy was grown, this is how the ragi was grown, this is how a carrot is grown? How is that? So these people they kept evolving, going around hunting in the forest and searching for the herbs and shrubs and all that, and probably they learned that this is how it is growing. So this is all about the man. Man is an intelligent creature,
Hmm.
no doubt about that. That is, but how did we acquire these things?
And
This is
learn.
over a period. Yes, over a period of time, all our senses were put to work. They were conscious.
Hmm. Hmm.
The curiosity in us. There is something called biological clock in us. A
Hmm.
6-year-old is a 6-year-old all over the world, irrespective of American, African, Australian, Indian, Japanese, Chinese, irrespective of that. The psychology
Urban,
remains the
rural.
same. Yes, 6-year-old is a 6-year-old. So this is how it remains. So over the period of time, the man taught the generation next, the younger ones, they saw and they kept working with the parents, and that is how they got to. learn, how to accumulate things, or how to be there, and how to socialize, how we are being with sharing and caring. All these things came together because man is a sensitive animal and creature, and he is very intelligent that way. So he started civilizing. He started structuring things. So now he's grown a little. Now he knows he should settle near because water was the major need. So wherever there was water, the civilization established. If you take the Indus Valley or Mesopotamian or anything, they all settled near the water and they started growing and building their things and growing whatever vegetables or fruits or whatever it's possible for their daily requirement of living, the basic, whatever the basic is there, the shelter and the food came in. And then they started with, covering up their body slowly and they started clothing and through clothing came fashion. So so again, that is again intelligence. You create yourself or you feel that, something is nice. Our visuals are very strong. Our visuals are very, very strong. So visual learning is very strong as and when, because you're writing on the board, children are tending to copy whatever the teacher has written. The child can remember. But intellectually, how much are you thinking? Say about magnetism or about photosynthesis or something. The word photosynthesis, I know this is photosynthesis, but what is photosynthesis? I cannot say. See, this thing should happen because the senses need to be put to work. What happened was earlier we were in the nature, learning and educating. Then everything came into the classroom, it became literacy. There's a very thin line between literacy and education. Very, very small line. Literacy and education. You need not write because we had, in villages, we had panchayats and all that we had. And I remember great-grandfathers, they had only the thumbprint. But the way they managed the village with such respect and with such beauty, and it was really amazing. It was really amazing. They could not write, but still they did it. So where is this education and literacy? Maintaining the whole place and bringing things in order, seeing to it that things are not going wrong. There is no crime. There is no these things are there. How is that? How will you relate this? With education and literacy.
Yeah, that's a beautiful distinction between education and literacy. So it's just what's coming to me is that most of us, I should say, most parents today, or schools today are mostly actually promising and propagating literacy more than education.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell. And so that is when the
exam performance, a child should be able to remember and write. That's memory. That's not intelligence. And when a child is able to listen to what a teacher says and is able to again reproduce that is again more about the ability to read, and the ability to write is more about literacy. That's also not education.
Exactly.
So that
I agree with that.
That's the question.
What has happened? Yes, presently what we are following is also not our pattern. Earlier days we had something called Gurukula system, and children learned, and Guru knew who was studying what and how to give the things. They did not give in order for the child. Say now there are 1 to 5 points. Out of those points, the teacher started with one, teaching one, and he knew other children they went further, but still based on the level and the skill of the child, he did not push the other child to go further. They were teaching the same age in different categories, in different groups, based on the need of the child
and capacity,
based on the needs of it. Like if there are numbers 1 to 10, so the child is learning 1, 2, but other children have gone little further, but they all started at the same time. But still they did that, you need to learn, but they gave different ways of teaching or different ways of doing it, and it depended. They did not put everybody in the same category and they told you are pass and you are fail or something like that. It's very wrong. And recently I heard that LKG child was failed.
Huh?
LKG or first grade child was. I was really shocked reading the newspaper, and it's such a shame. A 6-year-old, how can you put a 6-year-old through it? It's such a shame actually. So when I was really shocked with this, and this is where are we actually going now? Present generation, they're all coming here. Bangalore is a metropolitan city. Everyone is getting migrated from other places. From the rural, they are getting migrated. So it's because of the metropolitan and the foreign culture and stuff that is coming, it's become fancy. It's all glitter. But only you get in, you get to know. One parent came and told me, I want my child to study in Kannada. He told, I want my child to speak thorough English. It's because the father is feeling I'm not speaking English, so he thinks English is intelligence. English is not intelligence. They speak English, that is they're very proud of it. It is not about that. It is not about that at all. Now presently we are using the system is also not ours. The system what we are using is also what Britishers left. It is not ours. Now we are doing IGCSE, it is not ours. We are doing K-12, it is Switzerland, it is not ours. So again, IGCSE is also British, it's Cambridge. See, what is ours? They're all doing their education. Actually, in their countries, they're really faring well. They're really doing well. French is not wanting to do English at all. German is not wanting to do English at all. Singapore is not doing much. But they're all faring really well in their own mother tongues. They're having all the subjects learned in their own mother tongue. But still, you go, you'll get a subsidy or you get a waive off if you learn in German. If you learn in French colleges, you'll have free learning. They will not even charge for the university or whatever. That is how it has been. So where are we? Like, what is our system? Is the question now. So what is education according to our Indian context?
So
we
many
need to
thoughts
think.
running for me
Yes,
now.
yes.
Whatever you've brought up. Right.
So it's really this is just I'm putting out because each person out there who are viewing us or for us, it is like we need to think over it. It's a thing to ponder. It is not that I myself did not like the way the school taught. I went to a school and I did not like the way. So that is when I decided, and I saw my niece and all, they were learning so well with this kind of education. They were so free to move. There are no benches in desk. Teacher is not being strict and not saying things and all, but still the child is learning. Now my niece, she's writing her because according to the Indian system, at the end of the academic, like in the 10th board or whatever, you have to write certain exams and all that. This is her second time she's writing her final exam. She's writing and she's writing beautifully.
Second time she's
all her life
writing final exam. You mean? I didn't get that.
She's in 10th board now. She's writing the exam. In her life, she's writing for the first time or something like that. That's it. So she was never tortured. She was never done anything. Nobody forced her.
So what you're telling me is this is her first time giving a public exam.
Yes, exactly. That's it. And the child is doing
and before
absolutely
that,
fine.
the only other time she's written exam is once in her life.
That too. She was playing sports till 5th of February. Today she's writing her exam after 15 days. It's a over a period of time how you learn. And this child is a very different child, and I can absolutely say, I can absolutely say that she's very different in her thought process, the way she goes, she knows what she does. It is all about self-awareness. From the beginning, if you are made the child, see now we learn through our senses. All the senses are put to work. We learn. But here in a conventional schooling, we are only auditory and visual, that too only board. I say photosynthesis, nothing is shown in the photosynthesis, only a picture in the book is shown.
A cartoon
no
picture.
Experiment. Yes, that's it. It's not done or practically done, or they have asked the child to do some experiment and all that because of the time constraint and certain things, because they have put so many topics in one page and it is so confusing for the child and nothing comes from that page in the exam. Nothing comes from that page, because I've been teaching children in the after school also, where from many schools they are coming, but nothing from that page comes. The child is supposed to learn beyond that, but are the schools or are we giving any help? A library provision or a kind of book the child is supposed to do? Or are we given that? It's not given. It's not given. So the tendency is after writing the marks, they tell why are the exams coming to this now? Like after the civilization and all this learning and all happened, they were so beautiful children. They were happy, and the fathers and the family, they continued the tradition of making veena. It can be making flute. It can be making knives. It can be or making whatever it can be. But they all followed the tradition, and it has remained like that because they acquired the skill where nobody or no universities taught. It was not required for them to go to the universities, but they sell for. It is not that they are not earning; they are really earning well also. Until and unless now everything is becoming so technology based. Now someone has discovered where all the music is done in one one plate. So now it does drum. It does some drum from Japanese and some drum from Chinese and all that. Everything in one. See, because of the technology. But I don't think so. See, everyone, we are millions of people. I don't think so. Everyone will take that. One few percent. But the rest, the culture remains. It is not that it is faded away or anything. It will remain. Like how over the period of time our villages and they are growing crops and we are growing everything came down to books. Now the parent tells, don't touch the soil, your hands will get dirty. But here photosynthesis is happening, how to grow plants. Okay, that was one period of time where everything was shoes and socks and gloves and all neat and being there and reading the book. My child sits on the bench for 6 hours, so beautifully learning. How is this learning? When my senses are not, child senses not put to work, where the child is not feeling, the child is not, seeing things, the child is not hearing or listening to the noises the leaves make or the bees make or the birds make. They're not, because all the nature what is there is it's been put in the book. But we are not going out of the book. We are just sticking onto the book and in the name of exam trying to memorize. Just the child goes out. If he experiences, don't you think he'll remember for life? Of course he'll remember for life. Anything, any small thing, he remembers. If I teach about arthropoda is all about insects. Insects having 6 legs, 8 legs or more than that. That is what it goes. So if I'm teaching that, if I take the child for a walk or something, and if I show the child, this is how it is, he can explain because he's got language. He can explain this, how it is moving and how many legs it is happening, what is the antenna doing and why is it moving like this. And the curiosity is also, he develops curiosity also. Why is it only going to this and why are they following one behind the other? They are not running here and there. That is a colony and all that. Why is it going only to one hole wherever they have their nesting? So everybody is going there and all that. So we can speak more about that. So this is learning. So the complete colony and about arthropoda, it is taught. So it is so beautiful and the child will remember for life. He need not give a 50-mark exam for how the arthropoda moves or how many legs it has or whatever it is. He is there. Learning is there to suffice man. Like,
Also happening to me in this conversation is that we put so much, we've ended up putting so much emphasis on exam and performance and learning only in the context of exam and performance. And if you don't have marks, it means you haven't learned. But the truth is, even if you have marks, you actually haven't learned. That's what you're saying.
No. That is what has happened now. What's happened is now this child comes and he says, like, this is all about my experience I'm talking. And this child comes, he tells, ma'am, I don't have exam tomorrow, so why should I read this? The child has not finished this. And now, saying this, coming to exams, this child has not performed particular topic. Now, after the exam, what happens? The child has scored, say, 10 out of 10, the child has scored 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever. 8, 9, 10, those 3 marks where he has not performed, he has not learnt it. Now, after this exam, the portions are done, so the child will go to the next level. Now, what is the exam? What will happen to the part which the child has not learned?
What is not relevant anymore?
Exactly. So now again there is a gap. So this is how the gap builds in learning. When they go further, it can be math, it can be science, it can be anything. The gap becomes broader and broader. So in high school, parents starts panicking. They start panicking. My child is not doing this. My child is not doing that. He's not able to, do this, that, and all that. They start panicking and they come to us at that time because enough of work is not being put during the early years of age and they have not taken things systematically and working along with the child. Then at last they panic. And why? What is the exam for? Is it to test the child how much he is remembering, or is it for the teacher to know that how much the children have learned in the class? Say now 1 to 5, five questions are there. Out of that, question 3, many children have made mistake. So what is our duty as school? We are supposed to, as teachers, we are supposed to offer this chapter 3, whatever the topic 3, and come up and teach the children about that topic, because we found that there is learning is not happening. There is a lag in the learning. So this is what exam is.
Mm.
I hope
That's not how it
you're getting it.
is today.
It's that is how it should be, but it is not there like that. So it is done. The topic is done. One chapter is gone, and the other one is gone. Next year comes with so many festivals, so many holidays, and so many things. We work for 185 days, maximum 190 days. So I don't know how to cover the whole thing in this. And traveling and socializing, everything is learning at the same time. It is education. Going out with the family is education. Yes.
The first
Yes.
thing that's coming in, I'm sure a lot of parents who are listening to this are thinking, all of this sounds really fancy, fantastic, makes sense, all of that, okay. But in today's world, without a degree at least, without studying well, how are you going to survive in this world? How are you telling me that I should tell my child, hey, maths doesn't matter, yeah, you don't need to study, focus more on learning a subject. So if my child ends up focusing on, let's say, like you said, photosynthesis, the school may not be offering practical application kind of learning. So let's say I'm putting him in, other extracurricular activities to catch up on that. But there's so much more that's going on. I will never be able to get my child to catch up on everything that's there in the book. So then
Yes.
what do I tell
Yes.
my child? How is this going to affect his future? Will he get a job? What does success look like for my child? So these are the questions that are going to be staring up for, I'm sure, a lot of parents are listening to this.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. See, learning can happen in different manner. Like as I told, to catch up with it, with the conventional schooling and all that. So we need to have. That's why in Montessori we give something called as prepared environment, where we prepare and we pick the topics and do one topic at a time. My grade 2 child, grade 3 children can perform a digestive system. They know about the uh, lungs and breathing and stuff like that, and they can even do how is that they are doing, but uh, they can add and subtract and divide and do read up to thousands, because if I'm giving a big bang, they should know to read 4 million, 4.5 million, they should know to read. Without that, we cannot give. So how is that possible? That when it is possible with us, why is it not being possible? It is possible. It's about the outlook and the way we are giving the system, the way we are, because child is very intelligent. Today's child comes with lot of things, so many things we need not repeat like earlier days, because he comes with complete language, spoken language, because all the subjects are taught in English. So he speaks very well because parents are quite educated and all that, so they come with lot of things. So how do I take advantage of this? As I told, in Montessori, actually, we go by the sensitive periods. There's something called sensitive periods in while growing. All over the world, it remains the same. So what happens is 3 to 4 years, we call it a sensitive period for language. So we take advantage of those sensitive periods and start teaching, where I do understand, because it's not like everybody will not know what is happening and all that. What schools have done is they've mixed everything. They call it as, I don't know, like, some integrated learning, some learning they call it as. They put all little from here, little from K-12, little from Montessori, little from multiple intelligence, and they put it together and they are making their own curriculum that way. Probably it should be working for them. I don't know how much it is. But the wholesome development, how it happens from birth to the adulthood. However, the education is supposed to suffice man, and education is for peace. It is not competition. Education is supposed to be for as you become more intelligent, you become more sufficient, and you know what's happening, and you know that you are there. You don't become arrogant. Education should not make you arrogant. You are supposed to be there and to look out. And if you are more intelligent, you have learned more. You should know you are more intelligent. You should know like how the world is functioning, what's happening. You should be able to understand the other person. You should be able to understand the system and go about it. That's how it is. You become arrogant and you say this is it. Then that is not education at all. And marks-based learning and all this, it doesn't work. Now, today's generation, it should change. The learning after Corona, though, it should change now. It's time because nobody is asking for your certificates or marks card. I do understand they have to write. It is not that. As Preeti told, like, we do need the marks cards or whatever 10th board and 12th board they are writing. But people are there without having that. They have performed and they have been successful in life. I have seen with my own eyes that my
many examples from my life too.
yes, exactly. It is not that. So the process of the child growing from younger age to 10th board or 12th board has to be happier. What we do is, as a child's internal confidence, it can be, or the child will develop anxiety in between. Now, these things are all have happened, and there's a lot of work for psychologists. I see earlier, 15 years back, the number was 5. Now it has become 500 in a psychologist.
What
number of children going to a psychologist? Yes, it was 5 and now it has become 500. Now people are also aware they need to take help and all that. But still it's a taboo. Many are hesitating to take help. That is the secondary thing. But still. So looking into all these aspects with regard to coming to the exams and the marks and all that, yeah, learning has to happen. All the children should learn. It is not. You learn for yourself. I am scoring 100. I am scoring 100 for myself. I am not scoring 100 to put somebody down or to make somebody pathetic, or to show that I am only doing fine. I am doing it. I know. I have learned this and this and this. And I'm going to perform. I'm giving a worksheet. The sheet is given. You need to fill the sheet. You fill the sheet. What's wrong in that? You just fill the sheet and you will do it. You know it, you will do it 100%. So how are you going to get across it? Lot of, all the senses need to be put to work, and given most of hands-on learning, is very, very important. It's not only just board and books. It has to be beyond that. The learning should be beyond that. And now both the parents are working. Yes. Rather than need, it's become wants now. We eat 3 meals a day. I do understand. We need to travel to Paris. We need to see Australia. Now, because airplanes are there, man is an intelligent creature. He found airplanes to fly, probably to fight, I think. Probably because of the wars and all, they wanted to go to other countries and bomb them. So they discovered a lot of things. That's the thing. We understand all that, and it is very much required. I do. It is not that I don't say no. But how are we going? How are we reaching them? What are we making our children? What are we making out of the learning? Where are we pushing our children to? Child is developing anxiety. He's becoming more competitive and more greedy. Probably.
So,
I don't know. Because
is pretty much a lot of parents say, if I may use Navella Bidadilva. Pretty much what our parents did. Have we all not grown up? I'm going to do the same thing that my parents are doing. But what is missing is, especially since you said, the number of children going, who are needing psychological intervention has raised exponentially, and I'm sure it's, it is continually expanding. It's increasing. The need is increasing. My answer to, a lot of parents who say this, that this is what our parents did and this is what we would do. I went to school, I'm doing well, and that's what my child is going to do and is going to work. But the truth is, the world in which that we grew up is very different from the world that our children are growing in. The world in which our parents grew was very different from the world we grew in. Exactly. And the amount of advancement that has happened, I'm sure what my parents saw in 30, 40 years of their life, in terms of technological development, scientific advancements, etc., versus what I have seen in the last 10 years. It is incomparable. The kind of advancements that have happened, with the kind of things that are available, the kind of exposure our children are getting, the kind of opportunities that are actually available is way beyond anybody could have imagined when we were going to
Yeah,
school, right?
exactly.
And we do need to change in that context as well. So the way
Yes,
we
yes.
raise our children, if that is not in alignment with how the world is, and we are still sitting with the education style that Macaulay left behind for us,
Yes,
that's
exactly.
not going to
So no,
work.
exactly, because they're in their countries, they're not teaching the way we are teaching at all. See, we are in India actually compared to the other countries, we are very intelligent and we can perform better. We are working, we are only studying to work under somebody. We are
Mm.
literally, we are studying, we are preparing our children in mass to go out there and do somebody so that somebody is patenting our work.
Yesterday, I
Which is
think
the fact that which is true.
I was reading this article by Sarthak Dave. I think it was about he had written it's an award-winning article on analyzing the education system from the era of industrialization to now. And what he says is that education, the ecosystem, the way it was or way it is, not just in India, even worldwide, wherever colonization has happened, the system, the fundamental basis for this educational system is industrialization, where we are needing uniformity and standardization. These are the words he uses. That we need obedience. We need people to be able to reproduce the same thing over and over again, to simply follow instructions to the T. Because back in the day, that is what colonizers needed. Somebody who are capable of executing a certain kind of job, but will also not, you know, disobey orders or bypass their superiors. That's what we needed, and that's where it came about. But today, our world is more about customization, personalization, and there is so much out there that we are
Yes.
ignoring that each child is
Now,
capable of.
now, yes, now it is the second generation which is coming with this industrialization, whatever you are talking about. Now with the
Mm.
computer generation where we are producing the same kind in
Yes.
numbers, big numbers to do the Excel work,
Mm.
whatever they work on. Ultimately, you land up there, whatever you do. I am surprised when few parents come and tell, I'm a mechanical engineer. Oh, good, because everyone who comes are always software engineers. Even because I have a friend who's done her master's in psychology, and she's got into a company working for a software company, and she's doing so well. Probably her psychology background, practically, it's helped her. Look into
Mm.
people and how to people management and stuff like that. Probably it would have helped her. See, there's no link between what you have done and what you have landed up with. Many times this I have seen. I have seen
I'm an
many
architect.
engineers.
I'm here in this
Yeah,
field.
yes, yes, many engineers and many children are there who are like, they are not doing what they have learned. They have taken up a different route in all that, and they have suffered for so many years, so many nights learning which was not required. And they have lost their childhood, they have lost their teenage and all that. Rather than learning to work towards peace, it's become more of misery, anxiety, and stress. This is what it has happened now. So I have seen this. I have seen this happening. And looking into all this, that's what we need to look at. What exactly are we looking into as education? If we say education, what are we? What are we actually looking into? When we say education. So is it education, or are we running towards literacy? Literacy, anybody can read and write at any age. It should not be a problem at all. I give a script, but we should have something in our intellectually. We should have something so that we can put it up as script. If I'm intellectually not strong or intellectually not grown, so what am I going to put on a paper? So here, coming to jobs and being educated, they say we are degree holders and all. They cannot, write properly, or they cannot, they don't know the order, how things work, because you have to be intellectuals. Only then things So that's what I told you. I give a paper and you should be able to write what you know at least. See, everyone is not good at everything. There are different, like our fingers, they're all on different levels. So some is stronger. As I told one of my child, he could have become really Pandit in Canada. He developed anxiety because parents stressed him so badly. I did guide them, but they wanted to just, because he was doing all that, so they wanted to put him to a hostel. So how right is that? Whose mistake is it? Is it the child's or what is it? Like, you need to think, where are we pushing in the name of education? What are we doing exactly? I know we need to work, we need to earn, but people are earning, people are living, people are doing things. Though they are not running behind marks or though they are not running behind certain things, but they are living. How is that they are all living? It's about their skills. Mainly, you need to develop skills. What is skill development? And other aspects, with your intelligence and all that. You need to, that's why the learning initially should happen through your senses and practically, lot of practical aspect needs to come in. So that is when, it's going to, we will evolve. Man has evolved over the period
When we're
of time.
thinking
Like,
about
what,
children's future, will they be
yes,
successful?
yes, yes,
Um,
they will be
there are
successful, of course.
children, there are people who are graduated who have fantastic degrees but don't
Yes,
have a job.
yes. I
And
don't
it actually
have
pains me to say this, but a lot of teachers in schools, from what I've heard, I do go around taking sessions in schools, right? So a lot of teachers I have heard say that, know what to do, I couldn't find a job. I thought at least let me
very
come and
sad.
teach,
That is,
right?
that is very sad.
So what we are having in schools, a lot of teachers in schools are not trained for teaching, or they're not passionate
Agree.
about teaching necessarily, but it
Teaching,
is
yes,
a means to earn, right? So with
exactly.
that attitude, what kind of children are, what kind of influence is that going to have on the learning of our children? So that's one thing that's coming up for me. So another thing that I'm thinking about is also that when we're thinking about, we want our children to be successful, we need them to be in a well-paying job. For that, a degree is mandatory. Without a degree, how will they do this? It is also true that many people who have degrees don't have good jobs, or don't, not good jobs, don't have well-paying, soul-satisfying jobs. And there are also people who
Definitely.
have no degrees, who probably not passed out of 10th, passed out of 12th, or who probably college dropouts, who are doing really well in their lives.
They're, they're really, really doing well.
So what
So,
the distinction that I'm able to see based on this conversation that is actually enabling these people to do that, irrespective of the degree, is the learning. And the,
skill.
in another, conversation with you, and the other thing is definitely socialization. That's something that you brought up
Yes, yes.
even during the course of this, talk here, right? So,
Definitely.
so this the curiosity to learn, the interest levels, and the amount of time and resources they put in to learn and master a certain skill, and socialization, as in the way they interact with people, their social and emotional intelligence. So that's also something that you've been bringing up. That is what determines whether a person is successful, so to say. Did I summarize that? You
Yes,
know?
yes, yes. Exactly, exactly. So we have, like, say, like, we tell our father and all, they're all self-made people. They're all self-made man. Why we are not self-made? Why? Why is that we need to carry the burden to generations? Like, I do understand Maharajas, Rajas were there, and their prince came and he became a Raja. Then the princess came and she became a Rani, and that's a different story. It's not, it doesn't work like that. Like, we as people, it's become like accumulation of wealth. Uh, See, coming to summing up, it's like, it's okay. My child doesn't learn, it's okay because I have made so much enough. But how much the person would have suffered not living his life? What education has played? What part has education played in this man's life was accumulated so much for his son? We need to look at this education.
We move
How,
from
what?
success to wealth accumulations. I'm a bit all over the place.
Yes, it's about, like, it's about education. Even they need education to even think about how I should help my son grow. Earlier, we were children at home. Parents never came to drop to school. They were put to a close by school and the children used to walk. Now, because of the traffic and other aspects and all that, that's a secondary thing. But even in villages, I used to go to a rural school and I was amazed by the children's, children's, what is that? What do I say? The social aspect and the understanding part. And even they were very intelligent. They were, though they could not speak good English, but they were intelligent. They were very, very intelligent compared to they just knew next what is going to happen and what should be done. And fatafat they used to just gather together and do the work like that. But here, because they are confined to only the classroom, not knowing much, so what has happened to our children in urban is it's like, they shake. Anything happens, they get scared. Anybody little you speak in loud, what is happening in the classroom? Wow, what are you doing? Oh, it is like, they've become so shaky. So what is it? What is that? How are we bringing up our children is in question now. Actually, we need to look at all these aspects to make our children being sportive, being confident and coming out it. Probably the anxiety of the parents would have transferred. Probably something bad would have happened to mother, so she's been going on protecting the child so that the child doesn't do this and this and this and this, where there is the child parent is cutting off the learning. Probably the child has the capacity because of the parent anxiety, they're cutting off the learning. So these things are there. We need to look in different angles.
Because the parent anxiety, they're cutting off meaning?
Say like I have anxiety about my child getting down the stairs. My child is very independent. The child gets down, taka, 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 the child gets down the stairs. Okay. Now I'm anxious the child will fall. So I'm put the child down. I'll not allow the child to step 3 steps down. This is a just small example. This, if you apply it to the aspects in different angles, so children have become more sensitive. One parent tells, ma'am, they're generation Z, ma'am. They're very much more sensitive. But this child could, when online classes were going on, this child was very smart to play a video game. And the teacher wondered, why the hell the screen is going black? This is a grade 2 child. Why the hell the screen is going blank every time? And where are you? Where are you? But the child is playing a video game. See, this parent tells generation Z. I'm just thinking like, what is it? Where is the gap? Is the parent child teacher or teacher? What is it? What is it? Their generation Z, ma'am, they're very sensitive. What communication is happening in school and what is going back at home? It's completely different things. Very few children are like, okay, fine, it's there. And it's because of the scare of the child being, scared of parents or something like that. Probably the child is coming up with stories and telling that, hiding things and all that. That's an overall different topic, which we should be doing in the future.
We will definitely come back for another session on that. Yeah. When you spoke about communication, there is no communication in school. Yes, there is, definitely when we were growing up, it was always, back straight, sit up straight, finger on your lips, maintain silence, whether or not the teacher is there. So that was there. But today, in this particular context, we have a lot of, schools that are coming up with between classes, between periods, they give 5 minutes, so that children can talk to each other. 15 minutes so children can run around or talk to each other and come back. Is that better? Is that helpful? Is that enough? What are your thoughts on that?
It depends again. It is good actually if they're giving, so they're considering at least this much they're considering looking at the child. So it is not child-centric system we are having. Ultimately, see when we say child-centric and when we compare conventional and when we look at the Montessori education, what happens is the Montessori is child-centric. Every child has an index. Here in conventional, teacher has index. She does chapter 1, she is done with it. All 30 children, whether they know, they don't know, that is irrelevant. But chapter 1 is done, it is ticked in her book. Correct? So here what happens is, each child has an index. Only when the child does the work, chapter 1, then only the chapter is ticked. This is the difference. When you told like, oh, my child, how will my child give exams or how will they learn? If they learn like this, doing things on their own, becoming more independent and self-aware and all that. So don't you think they learn more?
Mm.
They learn more. 40 minutes, see 30 children are there, 40 minutes, the one topic is done, say photosynthesis. Many children will get it easily and it's not practically done, it's just done on a paper and a board. So the effective, it's like 50%. So only when they do experiments and stuff like that, the other 50% they catch easily. The work is done completely. So what happens is now here, what I'm saying is these children, 30 children, though they know in 20 minutes, they are wasting other 20 minutes. Children, others who don't know also are slogging there. All put in the same age and same
Okay.
classroom.
So
So these
in
are the differences which we need to. Here we have different age groups in Montessori. So what happens is this child, the younger child, is been observing the topic where the older children have done for many a times.
Mm.
So next it comes like this. The learning happens easily. So it's about the exposure. How are you going to put this in? Because the population is big.
So with this conversation now, if we had to put this all together to, one question, what according to you and perhaps Maria Montessori should education aim to achieve?
See here, education, as I told earlier, education is to suffice man, because it's like a brain gym, like how we are physically, keeping your body fit by doing gym and other things. So there is certain discipline in your body. So in the similar manner, brain also needs certain discipline.
Mm.
So man is, as I told, he's an intelligent creature. So he can do number of things. He can even kill. He can even deliver a baby. He can save a baby.
Mm.
Two extremes I'm talking about. So what will you choose as a man? Education should be to save the baby and create and work with the baby and do things accordingly and work. It's not that, the other, it's not the other thing. Other thing is, it's a crime. We cannot even think. As humans, we cannot think. But it has happened because of greed, because of jealousy, and because of lot of other aspects, the crime has come in. So what education is playing part? Why this man, whoever has committed, is not being educated? What if he was educated?
So we are talking
This
about
this
moral
depends
value,
again. Pardon?
morality. So are we talking about
Morality,
education that
specific,
focuses on
yes.
morality?
Brain discipline, yes. It's about the disciplining ourselves, disciplining as a human. If I have to get disciplined, what will get disciplined? My hands and legs will move, only my thoughts will tell me to move, correct? I'll
Mm.
speak what I have to speak because my thoughts are telling me to speak like this. So education is to suffice man and for peace. Education is supposed to be for peace, to understand and to know about the nature and to learn about the universe. Montessori says, like, give the whole universe to the hands of a child. What does that mean? Whole universe. How will he learn zoology, botany, physics, and all? How will he learn? It's not possible. He is learning over the period of time. He is learning. By the
Mm.
by the time they reach grade 4, they know so much. They are talking about helium, hydrogen now. They know how the world is formed and why volcanoes are happening, tectonic plates. And so many hundreds of topics are given without confining it to one chapter in the textbook. This much is been given, but I don't know. Like, children have learned that is the capacity of the child. That is but we are underestimating the capacity. Adult has made a textbook or whatever book. I know, because to go into a system with the kind of population we have and all that, I do understand. But we can improvise on certain things. We can improvise. Hopefully, the NEP, whatever is coming, they will give more options, and probably by fifth, they have given the option of choosing. I don't know how much parents will encourage it. It's only engineering or doctor, medicine, or there are now parents are traveling around across, and I have seen parents who are coming back from other countries and all. They are vouching for the open school method. They are
Mm.
agreeing on this kind of method because they have seen we don't want this onboard teaching, onboard learning. We want more than this, ma'am. We want our children to explore and more because we want them to learn skills. That's what they are telling now, and I'm happy. These are only a small number which is coming now. They are becoming aware of it. They're becoming. I'm happy about the young parents who are coming out. So during our times, it was different because many of our parents, they were only, they did not learn much. They were there and taking care of the family was, but even that generation, they did work and they did a lot of things. Women did a lot of things. It's not that they did. But still, majority of parents, mothers used to stay home, take care of the family. And it was a different way of functioning. Now both are working and both are stressed and both are pressurized and all that. Is it required? So when we talk about education, so educating our children is the main priority. Educating how are we going, because now everything is handy and children are hitting puberty at 9. They're hitting puberty very early. So what is there outside, in our mobiles, on YouTubes and all that, they're acquiring very fast. They're growing very fast, which is really...
We're going into a topic that is another 2-hour topic, so we're going to come back. Yes.
Yeah.
No problem, no problem. So, when you're talking about education, what I'm hearing in this conversation is that education should aim to look at what is the capacity, interest, and potential of the child, and guide them in that process to pick up the skills so they can support themselves and give back to society, rather than filling them with information and testing them for their memory, etc. Did I get this?
Yes,
right?
Exactly. That is what it is. That is what it is. They need to,
And
they need to be
aspect of
self-made.
socialization.
They need not be self-made only when they become adult. They need to be self-made from day one. They can pick their glasses. You need not pick the glass for them. They can pick things. That is education. They can do things. Doing house chores and working and supporting the parents at home. You both are working. The child is supposed to accept, yeah, my parents are working and I need to do this. This is my work and that is my parents' work. This kind of understanding should come into the child. That is education. That is education. And being, humble and empathetic and all that. That is education. It's not that
Social
being rude and
emotional intelligence.
Exactly. All these things play a great part in education. That is what is called education. Or else it becomes literacy. I can read and write, I can pass this exam, and I am done with it. I can live a life where I can earn some money, and that is done.
Yeah.
So how about the social aspects when you say education? So
we will go into specifically the social aspect in our next conversation, hopefully soon enough. And in the meantime, I would like to invite whoever's watching, if you have any questions, please put in your questions. We will take up whatever questions you have in the comments. I will look up and respond to that. And in this conversation about social intelligence and emotional intelligence, child should be humble, patient, etc., etc. So we are also talking about the importance of a child to be able to have intrapersonal, as in self-awareness, as well as interpersonal, knowing how to be with other people. And that is also the bigger aspect of education.
Yes, that is the education. That is education, and learning along with that, learning other skills along with that. That is education.
Okay. All right. Thank you. It was a wonderful conversation today. And just looking up if there are any questions.
If there are any questions. I am also coming on live for the first time, so I hope I did a fair job.
Yes, anytime I have a conversation with you, it's really interesting. Something to take back for sure. Yeah. Okay, so we don't have any questions so far. So while we are coming to the end of the talk, I would still encourage anybody who's watching this, if you still have any questions, feel free to DM us on my page or on Absorbent Mind's page. You can follow us, switch on your notifications so you know when we are up here, and get back to us with any questions and leave your comments. All of that is welcome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Roopa, for joining us today, and I definitely look forward to more such conversations with you.
Yes, we'll do more.
Yes, we will do that. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.